The European Commission fined AliExpress €550 million for failing to adequately assess and mitigate risks linked to the sale of illegal, unsafe and counterfeit products on its e-commerce platform. The Chinese platform's product compliance checks were also found to be vulnerable to abuse, with malicious traders allegedly misclassifying products to exploit less stringent requirements. According to the European Commission, large volumes of illegal products continue to circulate on AliExpress despite moderation efforts.
The company itself reported that almost 15 million illegal products were recommended last year to users in the European Union. We're mostly speaking about unsafe and counterfeit products, such as cosmetics, toys, clothes or gadgets, to name just a few.
The fine is the latest development in formal proceedings launched in 2024 over a potential breach of the EU's Digital Services Act. AliExpress now has until the 20th of October 2026 to submit an action plan outlining how it will address the Commission's concerns.
The European Commission unveiled proposals aimed at making European banks more competitive. The aim of this communication is to strengthen the single market in the banking sector. The Commission wishes to establish a framework to enable banks to take prudent risks.
It's not banks that need to take more risk. It's the whole Europe that needs to have a different approach to risk. But because of some inefficiencies in our system and still the legacy of the previous crisis, we focused a lot on reducing and trying to eliminate risk. But if you eliminate risk, you eliminate opportunities. We know that risk-taking is indispensable for innovation, for economic growth. So what we are talking about here is a recalibration.
The Commissioner emphasized that financial stability remains a precondition. However, she called for a political debate to assess how much risk the bloc is prepared to take in order to finance growth and investment in strategic sectors such as innovation, defense and the clean transition. Hungarian Prime Minister Peter Magyar has invited Judith Polgár, the most successful female chess player of all time, to become Hungary's president. Polgár led the women's world ranking for 26 consecutive years, achieved a career best of 8th place on the overall world list. The widely respected athlete has not previously taken on any political role. Writing on Facebook, the Prime Minister said that Hungary needs unity, peace and a president in whom every Hungarian can be proud. At the beginning of July, the Prime Minister posted a photo on his social media accounts showing him playing chess with Judith Polgár. Since then, there has been speculation as to whether Magyar is considering her as his candidate for head of state.
Ukraine launched over 400 drones toward Moscow overnight on Monday, reportedly hitting an oil depot and a logistics center. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukrainian forces also struck 2 Shadow Fleet tankers and 4 cargo ships in the Black Sea. Russian authorities claimed most of the drones were downed far from the capital and 85 were intercepted near Moscow. Russian officials said 10 people were wounded by Ukrainian drones and several residential buildings and civilian infrastructure were damaged. The attacks followed a weekend of escalating exchanges between the two sides, with Russia targeting Kyiv with ballistic missiles on Sunday and Ukraine hitting warehouses belonging to one of Russia's largest online marketplaces, Wildfires, outside of Moscow on Saturday. Russian media reported that another fire was reported at a warehouse belonging to the Russian online retailer in Ukraine's latest attack. The growing escalation indicates no end in sight in the war, but Kyiv has said its strikes on the Russian capital are intended to damage Russia's offensive capabilities and pressure the Kremlin to negotiate.
The U.S. military said on Monday it had completed its 9th consecutive night of strikes against Iran, claiming they struck military infrastructure and strategic sites. The latest barrage came after Washington announced the death of 3 American service members, 2 who were killed during an Iranian attack on a U.S. base in Jordan, and another in Iraq during a controlled detonation of a drowned Iranian drone.
We hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of the probably 3, it's probably 3 as opposed to 2, great patriots.
Meanwhile, Iran warned for retaliation if the United States kept attacking the Islamic Republic. On Monday, Kuwait's army said its air defense was responding to an Iranian attack, and a day prior, Tehran said it targeted 2 U.S. bases in the country. Bahrain also sounded its missile alert sirens on Monday morning. The escalating conflict once again had a direct impact on the Strait of Hormuz, severely disrupting traffic in the waterway.
2 major wildfires are continuing to burn in central and northeastern Spain. The blaze near La Miela, around 100 kilometers from Madrid, has scorched nearly 13,000 hectares and forced the evacuation of 16 villages. Firefighters are working to contain the southern edge of the fire and protect nearby communities. Regional authorities say strong winds have driven extreme fire behavior, with flames advancing at more than 60 meters per minute. Spain's civil guard said they are investigating whether the blaze began during agricultural work involving a combined harvester. Meanwhile, another wildfire near Ores in Zaragoza province has burned more than 15,400 hectares. Around 450 emergency personnel are involved, although officials say conditions improved overnight. Across Spain, some 70,000 hectares have burned so far this year. Authorities say they've recorded 18 major wildfires, almost 3 times the area affected during the same period last year.
Escalating is bringing flying cars to the real world. Our goal is very clear: mass production. For 13 years, Escalating has worked on flying cars. Many people said it was impossible. Many times. We believe it, and we kept going. On the road, it drives just like a normal car with 4 seats. You only need a regular driver's license. When you stop, press one button, the aircraft comes out from the back. It separates from the car in about 5 minutes. Then you are ready to fly.
At 5:30 a.m. local time on Monday, air raid sirens sounded in all cities of the Republic of Cyprus, marking the 52nd anniversary of July 20, 1974, when Turkey launched its invasion of the island. An initial ceasefire agreement only lasted a few days after the initial incursion, which saw Turkey take control of roughly 3% of the island in its opening offensive. In August 1974, the second phase of the operation, known as Attila II, followed, during which Turkish forces expanded their control to the northern part and with it seizing over a third of the Mediterranean island. Between 4,000 and 5,000 people were either killed or gone missing from the invasion. International organizations, including the UN, have on numerous occasions pointed towards violations committed by Turkish forces against Greek Cypriots, including violence and displacements. The island nation is currently the only European Union member state with part of its territory under occupation, and the Cyprus issue has remained unresolved for over half a century. Cypriot President Nikos Christodoulides paid tribute to those who died resisting the invasion.
Οι ήρωες μας εδώ στον τύμβο της Μακεδονίας, αλλά και όπου αλλού αναπαύονται ανά το Παγκύπριο, στα φυλακισμένα τμήματα, σε όλες τις περιοχές της ελεύθερης αλλά και της κατεχόμενης Κύπρου, ορίζουν και το χρέος, την ευθύνη όλων εμάς που βρισκόμαστε αυτή τη στιγμή στην ηγεσία του τόπου για να πράξουμε ό,τι είναι δυνατόν για να τερματιστεί η τουρκική κατοχή, να απελευθερώσουμε τον τόπο μας, να επανενώσουμε την πατρίδα μας. Εν ώψη της καθόδου του Γενικού Γραμματέα συνεχίζονται οι σχετικές διεργασίες τόσο από τον ίδιο όσο και από την προσωπική του απεσταλμένη, αλλά και από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση που αποδεικνύει με πράξεις ένα πιο πρωταγωνιστικό ρόλο, ετοιμότητα να διαδραματίσει πρωταγωνιστικό ρόλο, και ευελπιστούμε όταν θα είναι εδώ ο Γενικός Γραμματέας να υπάρξουν θετικές ανακοινώσεις προς την κατεύθυνση που σας προανέφερα.
The anniversary comes amid a potential revival of UN-led peace talks between the island's Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot communities, which are aimed at reunifying the island.